The gold price has hit its second highest level in history, with gold stocks now outshining Palantir that has fallen. While stocks have fallen in the US session for the second day because Trump said there's no talks underway with China. But after the market was shut, wait for it, the US came out saying that they will meet with China this week. What a flip of the switch, hey? Just in 2 hours. So now the US stock market is expected to somewhat rebound on their Wednesday. It's great to have your company. Today is Wednesday in Australia, the 7th day of May. It's great to see you. So markets are desperate for good news, aren't they? They're basically very headline driven in this Trump 2.0 administration. We've learnt that markets are pretty sick of bad news and indeed waiting for any good tariff announcements. So when we saw that, we saw US futures push up, suggesting we could see a rebound, which would be nice for long-term shareholders. But still, we need to pay attention to the fact that we have seen US stocks start to lose a bit of its steam, and that's why gold is also hitting fresh highs. Another reason for gold hitting fresh highs is because the US dollar is continuing to fall. Indeed, uncertainty is in the air, really ahead of the Fed's decision and what they say where interest rates are going to go for the rest of the year. We'll be covering everything you need to know after the Fed decision. Around this time tomorrow, we'll have all the details that you need to know. So stay tuned to us. But do consider, basically, investors are really starting to get a little bit worried that taxes, they're being labelled as tariffs. They're so high that they're threatening to basically hurt economic growth and company profits. So that's the narrative that why stocks are being pressured lower here. But when we did see that new headline saying Trump is, in fact, going to kick off negotiations with China this week, this, in fact, could be setting a new tone for equities. But we do have to consider, just before that announcement, we did see stocks fall to lows. And the reason for that is because volatility is starting to rise up again. We call volatility the fear gauge. This tracks the level of fear and greed in the market. And indeed, we have seen the volatility index rise for the first time in 3 days. And why did that happen? Well, that happened, as we said, it was because Trump came out before the US market was closed and he said, no deal. There's nothing underway with China. But 2 hours later, that was reversed. So we need to know that sure, Trump's mood has changed, and Scott Bessent said that they will be talking with China this week, meeting China officials in Switzerland. But if we do get a deal, that would expect volatility to reduce, and you might expect some money to come back into equities and for markets to rebound. But given things are so sketchy one day to the next, we do have to consider that Trump's 2025 administration has taught us that when you have profits, you need to consider taking them off the table. Unless they're gold stocks, you can expect gold stocks to continue to push on up. So for now, just exercise some caution, particularly with stocks and sectors tied to economic growth, until we get certainty about where on earth tariffs are going to be and where they'll sit. Maybe we'll find out this week with China talks. But in the meantime, do consider that we may be experiencing a pickup in volatility and a pickup in a downward pressure on stocks that have been high flyers this year. Perhaps that's why you should remember Palantir. Palantir shares have fallen 12%. They were the best performer this year in the US, and now their pole position has been pushed down after their shares fell sharply. They're now the fourth best performer in the S&P 500 this year. They're still up, though, having a cracking run, 43% in 2025. Some are saying that that's a tactical move because the US is going to potentially increase spending on defence to maybe increase that by 12% to be over $1 trillion. But we're waiting for an announcement on that. But by the by, defensive stocks in healthcare and gold are indeed proving their worth. They've become this year's top performers too. So when we talk about defensive stocks, what are they? Well, just as a reminder, that includes healthcare. We're flashing up on the screen CVS. CVS is now one of the best performing stocks in the US. They're up 47% this year. They are a top performing stock in the S&P 500. Another top performing stock in the S&P 500, Newmont. Newmont is the third best performer in the US. They're up 47%. The biggest gold producer in the world, listed in the US. You can also buy them on the ASX as well. In Australia, a very similar tune is being played out, but 7 of the top performers in the ASX 200, they're all gold stocks. Regis Resources, Evolution Mining, West African Resources, the list goes on and on. Just flashing up on the screen here, Evolution Mining. Evolution Mining has increased their pole position as the best performer this year in the ASX 200. They're well up in excess of 80% this year. Hello, the message is pretty simple. Ignore gold stocks and defensive stocks this year and you'll probably be missing out. That's the one takeaway from this video. If you could take away anything, that would be this. Please consider looking at gold and defensive stocks. If you aren't, I do feel sorry for you. But no, in all seriousness, there is a lot to be said about momentum. A lot of momentum is pouring into gold stocks. Perhaps there's a lot to be said about the Aussie share market as well. The Aussie share market futures were earlier suggesting that we'd have a negative day of trade, but given that the gold price has moved up 2%, with gold now at $3,426 US an ounce, thanks to the US dollar continuing to fall, you really need to consider adding some gold stocks to your portfolio, but there's always a bull market somewhere. Indeed, with gold up 31% this year, it seems that bull run can continue.